What is up? Going to Dallas right now, and I just had to say, God bless Texas. Nah, the song was playing on the radio before I started this. I have to tell you guys, a lot of times people are like, Erica, you're super over optimistic. You all this good news. But what about this? Or what about this economy? Or everything isn't perfect in Texas. So okay, let's break it down some numbers because you're right. Everything's not okay. First things first, 61 million drivers are off the roads. Off the roads. The roads are freed up and cleared. Not exactly. I'm in Texas and the roads are still packed. The key here, what people are noticing is the lack of traffic. People going to work, physical business, lack of gas station getting hit up, lack of other places that are businesses surrounding a lot of these commercial spaces don't get the same thing, right? The Panera Bread beside your office, the Starbucks by this particular building, I noticed they had to put a giant sign out saying we're open, right? That Starbucks used to always have a line around the building nonstop, but now they're saying, hey, we're open. Part of what people have to understand is there's a massive shift that has occurred, but money doesn't stop. Money doesn't sleep. It gets bored, but it goes somewhere. Right? Money goes somewhere. Now, prime example, I brought this video out, and the thumbnail is Nashville, Tennessee. Because I was talking to somebody about Nashville, and they just could not believe that there's these $1 million condos in Nashville, that there's these $1 million places in Nashville. You know, when they were growing up, Nashville wasn't this or wasn't that, and that's overpriced. And I said, who are you to dictate what's overpriced? Prime example, when I brought up Lake Tahoe, one of our classy climbers in the Facebook group, private Facebook group, posted, yeah, they've overrun Lake Tahoe. I live here, and when they didn't have to live in California anymore, they exited. They ran about that mud. That's happening everywhere. Right now, something's very funky going on in New Jersey. Now, New Jersey, let me give you the rundown. Y'all don't think I'm bashing New Jersey like you think I bash New York. New Jersey's been overtaxing everybody for years. You know, I think there's a lot of corruption there, but that's another story for another day because there is corruption. It's been proven in New Jersey. Ever since I was in 7th, 8th grade, when I finally got back from Alaska to North Carolina, we always had a ton of New Jersey kids in classes. Not just because of the military, but because they were relocating out of New Jersey, and they were always had this swagger like they're from New York, but really they're from New Jersey. And right now in New Jersey's somewhere where people go to look for returns, rental returns, income, to get out of New York essentially because it's too expensive and it's close and you can catch the train and all that good stuff, right? Well, New Jersey's been taxing everybody to death, and so people have been fleeing there in droves for like years right now, right? So the big thing that's been happening lately with New Jersey is a lot of Wall Street people live in New Jersey, a lot of what we would call satellite offices. Right? Everybody knows what satellite office is. I hope you do. Some of the satellite offices are in New Jersey. Well, New Jersey decided they're going to implement some new taxes related to the transactions that the Wall Street guys are making. Guess what they said? Honey, if y'all do this, we will be relocating everyone immediately to our Chicago office. Not only will we relocate them, we will take as much business opportunity and headquarters out of New Jersey. Now, many people say, well, Erica, the New York Stock Exchange is in New York, smart A. I know, but again, everybody thinks New York is the financial center of the world. Every company in the world that you can think of, if it has a headquarters in New York, it has satellite offices everywhere outside of New York so that they can work in sync at the same time as if they were right there in New York. So they have a bunch of these offices in New Jersey. And now that New Jersey acts like it's going to pass this bill, Wall Street already told them, we out. Do it. They literally said if you pass this bill during the day, and start trading out of our Chicago office. Now, do I think New Jersey's gonna try them? I sure do. New Jersey's not smart enough. New Jersey tried that billionaire that lived in their state, and when he said, all right, I'm gone, they had to redo the budget. They had to redo the whole state's budget because one man was like, I'm not playing with y'all. I'm gonna leave. And so New Jersey, of course, is hard-headed and corrupt, and so they will do this again. And so again, they will suffer from, the repercussions of this. Now, you're already saying, well, Erica, you said everybody's leaving and rent's gonna go down in New York. It's gonna be a great thing. Well, right now, the medium number for rent in Manhattan is still $4,750. Oh, that's less. $4,750. If you sit here and try to convince me that that's a good deal, baby, that's a good deal, I just don't see what you're talking about. Okay? Now, condo sales down 93%. You'll see plenty of articles on that for New York, but that's just not New York. Apartment building is down all over the United States. Now, I'm in Austin. We see apartments still going up left and right, but there's places that it has slowed down. Phoenix, Arizona, Charlotte, North Carolina, Miami, Denver, Colorado. 10 out of 10 when someone moves to a new city, like they relocate, they go find new apartments. They're excited. Oh, great, brand new apartment, move-in discount. I get a month off or 2 months off my rent. Perfect. That's wonderful. No problem. But 9 times out of 10 that they want to move to a house. This is why you have people buying houses sight unseen, out of state. They ain't even seen it. And they're happening in California, where Zuckerberg and many of the FANG stock companies and the big tech out there are saying, if you leave here, I'm gonna take a reduction out of your paycheck. For them, it probably doesn't matter. If you leave Silicon Valley and you buy a house in Texas for $400,000, shit, let's go crazy. Let's go to Dallas and buy for $600,000, $700,000, a big old house, depending on the area. And you still have to take a pay cut. You still can afford that house, that size house, better than you could afford a $1 million, $2 million, $3 million house in California. Now, do you want the weather, California? Do you want? Sure. But will you take that $400,000 house in Dallas in a really nice area? Yes, you will. Yeah, we'll take it. And still be able to afford it, even if they reduce your rent, because there's no incentive for you to go back to California once you leave it. Now, California already done told y'all it's broke, and it's going to tax y'all the money they can get back. Okay, it's going to tax y'all. It said, look, we broke. We're gonna take your money. Now they even getting ready to vote if they're gonna take your money for 10 years, which is a long time. Oh, 10 years? That California is making a future budget based off you not leaving. And don't blame California alone. Every state is doing this. Every state is making budgets in their house, and House and Congress of Representatives of their state, of how much money they're gonna come in revenue out of all these areas. See, they're counting the children that are in the schools and adding them up as like, okay, well, this many children are in the schools, this many children are going to get married, calculation-wise. This many children are going to have children, and they're building cities and towns and projecting future community growth on it. Well, this Rona in 2008 threw a lot of those calculations for a loop. So California is notoriously bad because it's broke. And everybody's like, we're the second largest economy in the... Listen. California, stop. We get it. You have fruits and vegetables. You have other stuff going on. But your budget is busted. If you say you have $1,000 credit card, California may have $1,000 credit card, right? But they're $4,000 in on the $1,000 credit card. So they upside down all the way. And that's just the easiest analogy I can kind of make for you guys. I wish I could see this thing beside me in traffic. This is humongous. Too late. We're past it. It's a heavy haul. But anyway, part of the reason I bring this up is people say, oh, you're being so optimistic, and it's not just being optimistic. Proximity matters. Those people that live in New Jersey, that work around the New York Stock Exchange, they matter. The reason you have, and I'm going to dabble here a little bit, but not too much. The reason you have Kevin Samuels and other channels, they are quality creators, amazing creators, but you also have their channels blowing up because guess what? People are figuring out, ooh, yeah, Jerome is cute, but I need to be in proximity to the money. Where do you have value men at? I don't even know where to find them. You look over, you see all these femininity and how to be a lady channels blowing up because really the cute words they want out of that is, how can I trick them if I can trick them? How can I trick one of these high value people? And that's what that's about. Proximity to money. But I would rather you have some integrity and some respect for yourself and start a micro business or start a business where you are actually just acknowledge that what your end goal is the money. See, in our community, we have such a problem with people saying they want money. just for our community, but other communities as well. Talking about money, talking about how much income you make is such a taboo thing. And I was watching Kevin the other day, and all these men were coming on, and he made it very simple: money, community, standing, the prestige of the job, and a few other options. But I'm just keeping it real simple for conversation. Money, community, your influence, right? And every single guy that came on the show was like, well, what about this? Or what if I get hot chicks? Or what if women think I'm great? Or what? Like, it was every answer except money, community, influence. Why? Because people think they can just go out and be a lone wolf. Now, let me not get into it. I hated community projects in school. I thought it was detrimental to my mental health. I got sick of always having to do these group projects, and nobody did their weight on the group project. It drove me crazy. Now, I get it. The schools are trying to teach you how to work with other people, but I didn't care about that. But what ended up happening is you have a bunch of adults now, especially in America, who are very individualistic, and they don't want to work in groups. So they'll make a little pot of money, and they'll just sit in their little house, and you sitting in your house with your car, nice car, in your house every day. Hey, that is survival. That's not thriving. That's basic survival. And what I see in a lot of comments on the internet is like, well, I got my own place and my own car. Yay. Hey, watch out there, buddy. I'm rich. No. That's survival. That's surviving. That's basic level of hierarchy of needs. Survival. And when you start talking about community and proximity, it's what people want. People don't want to do anything to do that, though. And the reason I bring a lot of this up when I have these conversations on this YouTube channel is many people are saying, when I talked about super teams, oh man, Eric, I ain't trying to work with nobody. No. And I wouldn't have got this teaching this channel. I started working with them in person, and the proximity of it, they were in proximity of someone who could sell me their business. Right? Not only that, I'm in a proximity of 2 or 3 people who have construction people, have people that can do remodeling, have people to do other stuff. And it allows me to connect with them to do what? Do business. Proximity is going to be so much more important. There will be pockets of people doing extremely well, still going on vacation. I'm trying to think of the name of the website, but I think it's like called CaribbeanDeals.com. I think that's what it is, CaribbeanDeals.com. And it came out of the 2008 crisis, really, because all these resorts were like ghost towns, and they put all together these packages, and people buy the packages and of course fill the resorts up. Some of the resorts are top-notch resorts, right? Top-notch. And the price package would still be $2 or $3 grand. And people would go on there and buy up these packages, right? In the middle of a recession, 2008, in the middle of a crisis, real estate crisis, people are still going on vacation. You will have that again. Caribbean Deals is still a good website. It's not bad. But in general, same thing with Groupon. Groupon started doing those travel trip deals and all stuff. People with money, they're going to still be traveling. They just ain't going to post it as much. We had some friends go to, it was a really beautiful island. I think it's like Fiji or something like that. I think that's what it is. And they didn't post it anywhere on Facebook. Anywhere. They didn't post it anywhere. And when we were at dinner, they were talking about, yeah, we went to Fiji. We're like, when? I didn't see it on Facebook. I didn't see it on your Instagram. They're like, yeah, we didn't want people judging us because of COVID, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, that right there is happening on a massive scale. Like, that's just one friend in our friend group. But imagine how many hundreds, if not thousands of people are still traveling, still buying tickets, still going places, but yet are afraid that people are going to judge you. That's what it is. They're afraid people are going to be like, oh, you out there with COVID, girl? You outside? Why you outside, girl? COVID. There are lots of people outside. Lots of people. Now, what does this have to do with proximity? What does it have to do with New York? What does it have to do with Jersey? Life is going to go on. So my suggestion to you is decide in that life going on, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? I'm not telling you got to strive and hustle all night long and break your back and do all that. Exactly. I don't think you need to. I think you need to pinpoint what it is you want, where you want to go, and get a small destination. Because 9 times out of 10, when I watch these channels, and no shade, no disrespect, a lot of these women, if they would just get 1 or 2 rental properties when they get low debt, when they come into a marriage, they can sit at home with their kids while they're little, because they'd have 1 or 2 rental properties. And the reason I know is I know too many people. It ain't just my little segment group. I go to conferences and seminars, and throughout these events where there's hundreds of people, that is what people do. They go get a rental, rent it out, and tell their wife, that's your budget. That's what you manage. There's several people we know right now on Instagram, their wife is managing the properties. That's her pay. That's your pay, baby. You better manage those. That's your money. Now, they'll have you believe everybody and their mom out here working like a Hebrew slave to help their husband. That's just not true. There are a lot of moms who are doing the whole, I work at the school, the private school where my child goes, to help with reduction of tuition. There's a lot of moms out here doing MLM, writing on a piece of paper that they're got a full-time job. There's a lot of moms out here who are, prime example, I know a couple, very wealthy. And I'm talking about a couple mil. And the wife works, quotation marks, at United Way. Now, she don't really work. She go there 2 days a week. But if on paper, she said, oh, I'm a working woman. A working woman? A working woman? You go to United Way twice a week. Really, you're volunteering. But anyways, she does get paid. And so when I see people say, well, 70% of women that work to help their husbands, it's just not true. You have a lot of filler work where the average woman is getting paid under 30 grand a year. And then on top of that, when you really dissect the numbers, a lot of them get paid under 18 grand, which really means they're doing part-time work. Just a little bit of work to have pocket change in their pocket. That's really what they're doing. And if you know your situation, once you know your numbers, you need to function, live, and thrive. Not just survive, but thrive. You can create little micro businesses or little things that help you get there. There's a lot of people who have little micro businesses that bring in about $1,000, $2,000 a month. They're a tutor or there's some kind of part-time thing, and that covers their bills. And you'll see a lot more of that coming up. And the reason these channels are blowing up on femininity and the high values is because people are trying to figure out what's the easiest trick in the book. To trick them if you can trick them is what they say in China. Now, what is trick them if you can trick them? It means I'm gonna go try to get married to somebody with a little bit of pocket change so I can go be lazy and sit at the house. Which, hey, sis, it's fine. If you can do it, baby, do you, right? Same thing's happening with these men. The joke of the homosexual guy, who's probably somebody's friend who's sharing a couch somewhere, and then they just need to, need to get off their friend's couch, so now they're gonna come with you and get their winter cuddling up with somebody. This is real life. Why am I bringing this up? Because it's easier for people to do low-level things than push up. Even if it's for 2 years. If for 2 years I told you every week, once a week, you gotta go network with people at a different event every week for 1 week for a year. Some people would rather go, nah, I'll just stay broke. Rebecca Lynn Pope, one of the key things, if you ever listen to her story, like really listen to it now. Listen to it. She's a beautiful woman, 1. And 2, she had a business card that said she was a CEO of a construction company, and she didn't make no money for about 4 years till she lucked up, networked with somebody, and they gave her a $5 million contract. I think it was more than that, but at the end of the day, $5 million, we're going to lay on because I'm driving. I ain't got time to Google it, look it up, but that's about the number. If you go back and really go back and listen to some of Rebecca Lynn Pope, she had a business card in her pocket saying she was the CEO of a company. The company won't make no money for years, right? Just surviving off alimony or something like that, combination. And it got one contract from networking, $5 million. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Now, after all said and done, she probably didn't get a total $5 million. She probably got like $500,000, usually 10% on big contracts, or sometimes 5 to 10% is what you're gonna get on the kickback backside. So she probably got $500,000, right? $500,000, which $500,000 in Atlanta is amazing. Okay, so what I try to tell people is $500,000 And if I really could break it down in another video, I would. If you get your hands on 300 grand and you do the right combination of a little small business and rentals, you're done. You're done. You're absolutely done. But see, people think everybody ought to hustle at the same level. We don't have to. We don't have to. Again, I told people, I said, if you just had 2 trucks running, 2 semi-trucks running, you know, under your own authority, you could get about $500,000 gross. That's not net, baby. That's way less than that. But gross. Key factor though, drivers. Right? A lot of drivers are reporting they're quitting because they feel disrespected and they feel stressed out from the job. So then you're sitting here now, have to pamper somebody, keep them in a truck. Right? So what I try to tell people is, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta know your numbers for freedom. You gotta know your numbers, because see, a lot of people out here talking about work, I need 20, 30, 40, 50K a month. And if push came to shove next month, and I said, what you need to live right now? It'd probably be about 510. If worst came to worst, right? A lot of these businesses are losing about, 40, 50% of their revenue from these, okay, they got to get outside of the restaurant. They got to do this and that. And they're learning what they truly need to keep the restaurant running, 1, and 2, what they need to keep themselves running. You know what I mean? And so you're sitting here trying to get people to understand that you got to know your numbers. Like you go out here and chase all this money and wear yourself out. You can do that. Or you can really take a look, pull the curtain back and look at your numbers and what you truly need. Okay? And a lot of these moms, if 75 million working Americans are making 30 grand a year, if you got enough rentals that give you 30 grand a year, crap, even give you 20 because you ain't driving, you mostly home with a little baby, there you go. See, people don't want to do those real numbers, because then that's just, it's too much work. So I want you to understand that a lot of what you're seeing on the internet right now is people freaking out and trying to get the proximity. How can I get to the person with the money? How can I get to the person with the money? You get to the person with the money by providing them a solution that requires them not to do extra work. I started a business that required me to do the extra work. Guys taking over all the work. That's why I got started. A VA's gonna handle the other paperwork part, admin part. That's the only reason it got started. It wouldn't have got started any other way, any other reason. I don't want it. Right? And so when you talk about, well, I got deals, I'm trying to bring it to people with money, you need to be busy to do too many steps. You need to break it down so it's like 2 steps here. You just do this and I'm done. And my staff has now learned me enough that, like, one girl sent me eight things on an email. I'm like, I did 2 of them here. You got to send me something that's broke down enough that I do 2 things. That's it. 2, 3 max. That's it. I'm too busy. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to trust you that you did your job and you handled it and you maintained the situation. That's what we hire people for them to maintain the situation. Keep the boat moving. Keep the marketing moving. Keep stuff still going. You know what I mean? So I did and people are like, well, Erica, rentals have their own share of problems. This is true. They do. Prime example, we're on a call earlier in our Ride 20% class, and those in the class, talking about, keep it over there. Someone had a tenant that was a great tenant, but they moved someone into the property, and that person tested positive for lead. Now, what ended up happening is what? She had someone not on the lease in the house. And see, because they weren't on the lease and they were in a part of the house that didn't get much focus, now this person's got exposed to lead. But would have never known any of that if it wasn't for the excess people in the not on the lease in the house. And you're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see a lot of people in the house that you're renting out to them that ain't on the lease. You're going to be like, who is all these 4 or 5 cars at this house? But 9 times out of 10, rent will be paid on time. Why? Because they have these extra people and everybody got to throw in to survive. Living arrangements will be very unique. And this is also why you see people buying houses. They don't know what their income gonna be 2-3 years from now, but they do know if they in this house, it's gonna take you a minute to get them out of this house. And an apartment gonna get you right on out. They're gonna get you right on out. Okay. So what I tell people is, that's why you're seeing the houses go up. People move apartments go down, because the requirements. If you try to move an apartment right now, as a former apartment manager, I'm gonna sit there all day and call every job you put on that application. I'm gonna check your bank numbers. I'm gonna check your paycheck stubs through the national system. It's my job to make sure you ain't fronting when you come to this place to live here. So you think I'm gonna jeopardize my job by not verifying and checking what you give me? Now, I'm not saying by no means that housing does less checking and verifying, by no means. But I know people who are apartment managers, who are landlords, who go, show me what you're making on your month. They don't even care about their credit report. They care about what is you making a month. What kind of car you drive? How many people gonna be in this house? I've seen landlords make decisions based not on credit, based on income, because they know people's credit can be funny. Apartments, no. We're like, what's your credit score? Oh, sorry. You want to put extra deposit down? There you go. Right? So, this is why you're seeing this cycle of people trying to get into a house, whether they're renters or they're buyers. Again, I told y'all I looked at 49 houses in Austin off a golf course and near the golf course area. Whether they were for sale or they were for lease, they were like this. Don't. Because people know, I'm getting this house, it's going to take you a minute to get me out of the house. I buy this house, I'm going to be more invested in staying in this house, and plus more people, if they ever want to live with me or rent room for me, can. If I want to Airbnb my place out, easier than I can in an apartment. I've seen people try to Airbnb an apartment out, and your neighbors is nosy. At a house, you know, they can't tell. They can't tell who's coming and going. Who they gonna tell to, other than HOA? There ain't no HOA. What they gonna do? Nothing. So, the proximity factor that people are desiring is it's just one of scarcity. It's one of scarcity, and it's one of security, right? Like, oh my God, there's not enough money. There's not enough men and women to go around. There's not enough this and that. Scarcity. And they will make bad choices in this economy. But I am telling you, if you can take a minute to breathe and just wait a second, just take a deep breath, wait a second, look at all your options. You know, there's on the other channel I did a book review on Stillness is the Key, and I'm telling you, when you're working, you're hustling, you're moving around, you're doing all this stuff, and you just, you know, usually in that moment you're so exhausted you can't think of anything but what the current is, survival. But when you get still enough, sit back enough, you can really start to think, okay, what is the next best thing we're going to do? We're going to do this. So now we decided to do this. This is the next best thing, right? And that's usually what happens to people in the still. And this is part of what I've noticed people buy courses in the middle of the night. Like, I'll have a bunch of course sales at 1 and 2 and 3 in the morning and 10 o'clock at night. They have had a moment. They've worked all day. They've been ripping and running all day long, and now they've had the time to sit still and go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. I'm going to purchase this course. I want my life to be different. I want there to be change. And that's when they purchase it. And that's when they start taking action. All right? So look out for New Jersey. More news on New Jersey the next coming days. You know, just pay attention to where there's opportunities for you to grow a micro business or sell something. Because at the end of the day, these smaller towns, they're still going to have stores open. The reason Wyoming and a lot of these places did not close, they didn't need to. Their lease, their commercial leases are like $400 a month. Yeah, they can keep their stores open. You're not talking about places like Manhattan and cities where it's thousands and thousands of dollars. You're talking about smaller towns where they can stay open. And they can adjust their budget. And they can adjust their staff. There was a coffee place right down the street from where our office is. And thank you to Miss Mills, who got me a gift card from there. They literally, you know, because of COVID, at one day they were like, we're going to have to close. We just can't afford to stay open. You know, just we can't. Oh my gosh. And people responded the next week by just showing up and buying coffee. And they were able to reset their right, like get it reset. You're going to see a lot of that. There is a guy whose daughter posted a thing about my dad only sold $6 at the food truck. They only made $6. And all these people are like, oh my God, 100 people showed up to buy from the food truck in Houston. It's like near Humble, Texas, which is still near Houston. Now, 100 people, let's say 100 people visit his food truck. And all of them spent $30. Let's just say they bought everything he could sell them. They spent $30 times 100 people. That's still $3,000. That's not a lot. It's not a lot. But when all you have is a food truck and the space you're renting, that might be all he needed. So look, point of this video is to figure out your numbers so you're not out here thirsty. So you're not out here like, oh my God, Erica, I need this. So that you're in a space where you can sit back, you can think, and you can make purchases toward your way. Now, in all honesty, do I think you need to be stocking up food? I already told y'all yes on that. I told you you're not paying attention to the fact that you had all this flooding in Louisiana, agricultural areas. You done had all this storm in Iowa, millions of crops down. You done had some storms up northeast. So you going, and then, you got a lot of crops that's going to be missing this fall. You got a lot of pork that's going to be missing. A lot of beef cattle going to be missing. So whatever. I'm just telling you, if I were you, I'd give me my deep freezer and I'd start, doing that. Now, also, you're going to see an increase of the tiny homes channels and the farming channels. You're going to see a ton this fall. Brace yourself. Brace yourself, because some people live in areas where, you know what, they're not going to try to make any more money. They're going to make a little bit of money online, and they're going to do a lot of homesteading, because that's their best bet, right? And I know people were paying $450 rent in parts of Ohio. I just know. I know for a fact. So your rent's $450. If you're struggling at $450, honey, there's a world of hurt there that I can't even address it, right? Yeah. But for that person, if they start a micro business or a blog or a podcast, and they make a couple thousand a month, they're good. They better just not get no other debt, no college student loan debt, no other kind of debt. They just better sit tight, sit real tight, because that's all they got to make it live. So get in proximity to where you want to be. Now, if I were you, I'm just telling you what I'm doing this next year. At the end of this year and the next year, I'm going to several masterminds. I'm going to sit in rooms with certain types of people, and it's all for a reason. It's all for a reason. Like, I'm creating a bubble around me of particular people for a reason. Because if you're talking to people who are not forward thinking and progressive, now I don't mean progressive in political stance, I mean progressive in the thinking of, all right, well, this is going to go down. Let's get some other investments. Let's partner over here. Let's partner over there. Let's build our own little economic moat so we survive and our family survive. Like, that's the only people I want to be around. Like, what are we doing to grow out of this? We're not going under. What are we going to do to grow out of this? What we need to do to maintain? Okay, what do we need to do to advertise? Okay, let's do that. That's the only people I'm surrounding myself with, because I was in a conversation the other day, and this lady was like, oh my God, it's just so bad out here. It's just so horrible. It's just so... I was like, honey, you done wore me out. Just in the line at the stove, you wore me out. With your negative, your energy stank. Now, could that be her reality, that everything's so bad and everything's so negative? For sure, it could be her reality. It ain't got to be mine. I'm not in no delusional land out here, but I am aware that if Spotify can give Joe Rogan $100 million, there's some money out there for me. It's not even got to be podcasts. I'm just saying on the internet, period. There's money out there for other people. There's money moving all around. Like, just stick your hand in the air and catch some. You know what I mean? And people don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. If money's not moving it towards you, what are you doing? What's your energy? What's going on? But like right now, when I heard that home break-ins were going up, I'm like, if you a man right now and you couldn't get on a construction team or drive a truck, I don't understand. We short construction, we short drivers, we short mechanical, we short everything. And they still building. So it's easier for you as a man to get the door there than it is for a woman. I can understand all these women looking up femininity channels so they can go snag a man to help them pay for some rent. I can understand that. That makes easy sense to me. Some of these ladies are short-sighted. They're not gonna work for it. They're gonna just go marry somebody and go sit down, and I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that, because when you work too many certain hours as a woman, your testosterone levels go up. So I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. But I just want you to understand. Figure out your numbers. Because some of y'all aiming for basketball team people, and you just need to be aiming for the doctor down the street or the dentist. I mean, even the video I saw where they were asking these hood rats on the street, would you rather date a drug dealer or a doctor? First of all, most of the women I saw in that video have never been near a doctor outside of the hospital in their whole entire life. Period. Just the same way I hear these men complaining about certain type of women, that already tells me that they only hang around where boogaloos hang out. They only hang out where hood rats hang out. They only go live and eat and do dinner where those women hang out with lots of children. That's the only place they go. That's it. If that's all the women they're meeting, that's you, boo-boo. That's your environment. And that's why it's so important to craft the community you want to be around. And that's why I'm going to the events I'm going to and the masterminds I'm going to. I only want to be around certain type of people. And you got to create that bubble. And they have created a bubble of hood rats and boogaloos. That's not my problem. Okay? So look. I'm going to wrap the video up here. I just had to let y'all know, listen, I'm not in delusion here. Yes, there's millions of people not driving right now, millions of people not at work, but there's a whole pack of Americans still working. And we've heard from several people in the mail industry, and I mean mailman industry, post office industry, that they have been at all-time highs since Christmas, one person said. My aunt lost 50 pounds in North Carolina. Just the post service, she said, is so absolutely slammed. You're on your feet nonstop every day. They've not slowed down because everybody's ordering stuff online. So what does that tell me? I'm gonna come up with something in a micro business to sell somewhere online to people, because people are putting their money to somewhere, right? Money doesn't stop moving. It's always moving. Figure out what you need to get in proximity to get some of that money in a good way, not a bad way, if that makes sense. So this is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. If you guys want any 45% off any courses, I think the code right now, I have to check with the VAs, but I'm pretty sure it's fall 2020 that you get 45% off the courses. We have the live TaxLink training coming up, where we picked about 6 different locations. I don't know how many states so far. We did the group vote for where I was going to buy actual tax liens and show you the process and record the screen. Also, we have right now, next week and the week after, there'll be some more videos in Middleman to Millions showing how we picked up some of the contractors in the Austin area, and then also how we started rolling out our leads and ads and website. Also, we'll be showing a couple more things coming up soon. But remember, October 30th and December 30th, we're doing sales income report. The income report of the year of COVID, of how crazy it's been, and getting a real look at a real business person behind the scenes. So, all right, you guys, this is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. I only got 60 likes on this video. All I ever ask is, can I get some free likes? There are over 300 people who are in and out of this show. Let's hit that like button. It's your girl Erica. Have a great day.